What is up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Do You Want More, a UFC stat show here on the Monk Maddox channel. I am your host, Monk, aka Monk Master Flex, and let's get into the statistical breakdown of Brian Barberena versus Jason Witt on this Saturday's upcoming fight card, UFC Fight Night, Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland. Let's get right into it. Brian Barberena. This is going to be a welterweight fight. I should start off with Brian Barberena, 6 foot, 72-inch reach. Jason Witt, 5'10", 70-inch reach. So a little bit smaller there. Jason Witt is 2.5 years older than Brian Barberena. Barberena 15-7 professionally. He has 10 TKO wins, 2 submission wins. He has 2 TKO losses and 1 submission loss. He is 6-5 in the UFC. Jason Witt, 18-7 professionally, 3 TKO losses, 3 TKO wins, 8 submission wins. He also has 5 TKO losses, 2 submission losses. He stands 1-2 in the UFC. Let's see here. A significant difference in total fight time and average fight time. Jason Witt has the shortest average fight time in the welterweight division, but not in the way that you would want to see it. Ass whoop index, Brian Barberena career 205, whereas Jason Witt is a negative 9.01. That is towards the end of the division there. Power index for Barberena 0.84, so that is a bit better than average in the welterweight division. Chindex 0.33, so right at the average line or halfway line of the division there. Power index is 0 for Jason Witt. He's never knocked anyone down. And he's got probably one of the highest Chindexes I've ever seen at 9.09. That is by far last in the division. Let's see. This is the fight doesn't go to decision, I should say. Minus 175. Line here, Barberena is a minus 266. He opened at minus 200. He's now minus 266 against Jason Witt, who opened at plus 170 and now sits about plus 211. Barberena has the highest probability of winning inside the distance, according to Vegas, at a plus 100. Wow. That is something. Notable performances. He KO'd Jake Ellenberger, KO'd Joe Proctor, and submitted Sage Northcutt. Let's see here. The notable performances. See what I did there? He lost to Colby Covington in a decision, lost to Randy Brown, TKO 3rd round, and he got TKO'd by Luque round 3 as well. Top performances for Jason Witt, there's going to be exactly one of them. He subbed Cole Williams in round 2 and then got smashed by Takashi Sato in the first round and smashed even harder by Matthew Semmelsberger in the first round. My goodness. Fight finishing data. 67% finish win rate for Barberena, 100% finish win rate for Jason Witt, 40% finish loss rate for Barberena, and 100% finish loss rate for Witt. So no wonder Vegas says this is not going to go the distance. Barberena has 3 TKO wins, 1 submission win. He's been TKO'd twice, never been subbed. Jason Witt has a sub, but has 2 TKO losses. Graphical analysis of the fight finishes right there. One, if the numbers are all bunched up like they are for Jason Witt over here, that just means they're all at 0. So everything else should be pretty spread out there. Striking data, let's get into it. 5.48 significant strikes landed per minute for Barberena at a 48.8% accuracy. 3.16 landed per minute for Witt at a 65% accuracy. On the defensive side, Barberena gets hit with 4.7 strikes per minute at a 45% defense. Jason Witt, significantly less than that, 2.68 strikes per minute at a abysmal 29% defense. Not great there. Significant striking per minute differential, 0.48 for Jason Witt and 0.78 for Barberena. So not great numbers, but, you know, at least they're on the positive side. Knockdown data, whoops, a little bit far there. 6 knockdowns in Barberena's career. That's good for a 0.69 knockdown per 15 rate. He's been knocked down twice in his career. Witt has no knockdowns and has also been knocked down twice in his career. However, he's been knocked down twice in a little over 8 minutes, whereas Barberena has been knocked down twice in a little over 2 hours. So that is good for a 3.65 knockdown against per 15 rate. That is dead last in the division. Kind of seems to be a theme with Jason Witt here. Takedown data. 2 for 7 for Barberena. That's good for 28.5% accuracy. He has stuffed 36 out of 60, good for exactly 60% takedown defense, so a little bit subpar. On the other side, Jason Witt has landed half of his 4 takedowns, and no one has shot against him. 10% takedown shooting rate for Jason Witt. That is pretty high compared to Barberena, who has a less than 0.5% takedown shooting rate. Let's see here. Takedown per 15 differential, 3.65 for Jason Witt, and a minus 2.53 for Bryan Barberena. So clearly Barberena controls the striking a little bit better, but it appears that Jason Witt has better wrestling. So I haven't done my tape yet. Got to do it, and then we'll find out. But that is what the stats are saying right now. However, like we say, you cannot always trust statistics. Jason Witt has only 8 minutes in the octagon, so we got to do our tape to really find out what he is all about. Control time data, 11% for Barberena. He controls 1.68 minutes per 15. On the other side, Jason Witt, 76.85 control time percentage. That's good for second in the division. So far in the UFC, he controls 11.5 minutes out of 15. So that's an interesting number to see when you have 2 losses there. Definitely want to tape this guy a little bit more. Control time against for Barberena, 25%, and 2.64 for Jason Witt. So good numbers there. Big time control time percentage differential for Witt. The get up time, 32.5 seconds for Barberena, and the hold down time for Barberena, 125 seconds. So looking pretty good there. No one's attempted a takedown on Witt, so we have no get up time, and his hold down time is also pretty good, as you would expect from that control time, 94.75 seconds. Control time activity rate, that is the stat that me and my buddy, with the help of my buddy Digital Monster, came up with. What do you do when you're in control? When you're up against the cage, are you throwing clinch strikes? Are you trying to land takedowns? On the ground, are you trying to get ground strikes off? Are you trying to get submissions off? What's going on? A very high number for Barberena here, 22.58 control time activity rate number. That's good for 5th in the division out of 66. So very good there. Not so good for Jason Witt, 4.27, 60 out of 66. Submission and reversal data. Barberena has thrown up 4 submissions in his career. He was successful on 1 of them and has stopped all 6 that were thrown against him. Jason Witt, 1 for 1 on takedowns there, or on submissions there, and no one has thrown a submission against him. 2.5% submission attempt rate compared to 0.27% submission attempt rate for Barberena. So Barberena definitely doesn't like to work on the ground too much, according to the stats. We have to see our tape still, but a 0.48% shooting rate, 0.27% submission attempt rate. That tells me he is more of a striker. And I happen to, I've seen several Bryan Barberena fights, but I'm just trying to break this down for if you've never seen anything before. Advanced striking data. What stands out to me here? Whoops, I just kind of messed up my screen. There we go. What stands out to me here? Not too much. Bryan Barberena, 3.83 head strikes landed per minute. Pretty high rank there. Otherwise, pretty average to below average stats across the board. And I don't have a ton for Jason Witt in the categories that he is doing well on, so we are going to pretty much skip past that. Advanced striking percentages. Where are these guys throwing their shots? Let's see. 80% of the strikes thrown from Bryan Barberena have been to the head, 8.8% to the body, and 10 to the legs. So he is kind of a head hunter, and we have about the same, almost identical numbers over on the Jason Witt side. And below that is a graphical analysis of those statistics I just talked about. If you'd rather look at it visually than just stare at some numbers all day. For instance, Jason Witt, look at that. Significant strikes landed against. Here on the far end, ground strikes, 72.73% of the strikes landed against Jason Witt have come on the ground. So, I mean, we just did say Bryan Barberena doesn't tend to go to the ground much, but Jason Witt certainly likes to get punched from there. Fight history, we are going to skip this for Jason Witt because he only has 3 fights, but for Bryan Barberena, we can do our first comparison of the card. He has over 5 fights. So, he's landed 5.68 significant strikes in his past 5. Gets hit with a few less, so that is good to see, a positive striking differential. We'll just skip to the differentials here because Jason Witt doesn't have anything to compare it to. He is positive 0.32 strikes differential, minus almost -2 takedowns landed per 15 in his last 5, minus a 21% control time differential, minus a 0.25 reversal per 15 differential. Barberena's ass whoop index, which was 205 in his career, is a negative 0.86 over his last 5. However, he is sitting a little bit more powerful in his last 5, 1.17 compared to 0.84 over his career. And the Chindex is 0.62 compared to 0.33 over the career. So it has gotten worse. And for the first time on this card, we also have information on these graphs here. I should get you so I can see my mouse. Then you know what I'm talking about. These graphs, I don't like to say that is a fighter getting worse or is he getting better, but are they trending in the right direction? Basically, it's here. For example, significant strikes landed per minute. Bryan Barberena is averaging 0.2 of a strike landed per minute more than in the last 5 than he has in his career. So he is trending up or improving as of late. In those statistics. So takedown accuracy, that's a big one, minus 28.5% over his last 5 compared to his career. So that's just kind of, what have they been doing lately? It's kind of a good representation of that. Let's go down to strength of schedule, where Bryan Barberena dominates. His opponents have a 72.8% win percentage. His strength of schedule is a 71. His strength of victory is a 66, and his strength of defeat is a 78.9. So pretty good there. Jason Witt is less in every category. So his opponents have not been as good as the people that Bryan Barberena has fought over the past 5 fights. And here is the fight history information over the past 5. It is completely full for Barberena. You can check out Jason Witt's last 3, where he got smashed by Sato and then smizashed by Semmelsberger. Both first minute knockouts there. So all of Witt's fights have been finishes, as we have discussed, and Barberena's numbers are there. Let's go down to the last of it, the graphical analysis of a few categories here. Solid blue line is our fighter. Solid orange line is the fighter's opponents. The dotted lines here are the trend lines for each one. And the solid green is our fighter's average. Solid yellow is our opponent's average. So you want the blue over the orange. You want to see our fighter trending up, and you want to see our fighter with the better average. So significant strikes. Let's check it out. Pretty even for the most part. Barberena is up and down a little bit. He is trending down, however. We don't like to see that. But as of now, his average is better than his opponent's. Takedowns, he has no takedowns to speak of. That we can even graph over his last 5, where some of his opponents are able to get the job done. That's why he's got a -2 takedown landed per 15 differential. And then control time here, he is trending up, opponents trending down, but as of now, it's not close. Opponents get the better of him on control time. Jason Witt, very close on significant striking, trending up though, trending up on takedowns as well, and he's trending up on control time. So we do love to see that, especially with that 76% average, almost 77. So fantastic stuff there. That is going to be the statistical breakdown of Bryan Barberena against Jason Witt on this weekend's card. Guys, make sure you do your tape. As I always say, make sure you get that tape done. Statistics are not the end-all be-all to what we're trying to do here, which is make successful picks and make some money. You have to pair your stats with good, clean fight video study. You got to watch your tape. So this is meant to be a perfect companion to your tape study. Do both of those things. You're going to win money from the bookies, and you're going to have a great time watching these weekend's fights here on Saturday. UFC Fight Night, Uriah Hall versus Sean Strickland. Again, this has been the breakdown of Barberena versus Jason Witt. Enjoy the fights. Let's make some money, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.